Zach? I can't hear you. Okay,
Sorry about that.
there it is. Cool.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I think I got it.
Okay, cool. Let me hear it.
Oh yeah, you got it. All right,
Uh-huh.
that.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
The beginning, yeah, that's that. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
But, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I'm
one
actually,
that you want to hear very often, but when it comes up, you'll be able to do it. Like as far as like a melody being in the center of a triplet like that. But it
it's really
happens.
cool.
It happens. Um,
I really like playing with those rhythms. It's really, I don't know. I feel like it's really cool because you play like that for a while, and then you just go back to playing like the other way.
right.
It almost feels different. You're like, oh, jazzy, like.
Yeah, I mean it's very interesting. I mean, how jazz drumming will bleed into your normal drumming. Did I ever tell you this story about when the very first time I played a show in El Paso?
No.
Okay, so basically I was playing the show, and this is still when emo was still a thing, right? And basically the genre Americana just started creeping into the scene. Do you know what Americana is?
I know the name, but I don't know exactly what it
It's kind of like what modern day folk music is, but it
is.
crept into the punk rock scene, right? So basically, I was playing in kind of a indie rock, emo Americana band, and we played this. Actually, here I could play you the beat. So right.
Yeah.
So we played that song, and then a very big thing in the '90s, which was very typical because of Nirvana, is basically throwing your instruments all over the place after the show, acting very melodramatic, like the world is going to end. And I remember doing that. I think I kicked over my cymbals or something like that, or I kicked over my drums to the point where all I had left was just my bass drum, snare drum, and my ride cymbal, right? And then we do a thing where we like freak out on our instruments. But I remember after the show, this old guy, his name is Barry Martin. He went up to me. I mean, he was old. I mean, he was like maybe in his like late 60s, maybe 70s. He goes, "Hey, you play jazz, don't you?" And I was like startled by the question because we just finished junking our instruments, right? Um, and I'm like, yeah, like that was like the first one of the first styles I learned. But how could you tell I played jazz? Especially after like smashing the drums and things like that. He's like, oh, I could tell. So I mean, that's the thing is even when you start playing, whatever genre of music, in your punk rock bands or whatever, uh, it'll creep into there in a very good way where people could tell there's um, because the thing is, jazz drumming is considered probably like one of the most, I guess, sophisticated or refined form of playing drums, just because so much of drumming is rooted in it, right?
I always wanted to learn jazz. Well, my whole goal was to like become a jazz drummer, and then but not just play jazz, play everything, like
Yeah.
jazz and everything. John Densmore on the Doors, like all that stuff is like those guys were jazz drummers, but they played rock and roll or funk or whatever. It's just jazz is cool. I feel like everyone should know a little bit of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
especially with being an American, right? Because it's such a big part of American history and tradition. Um,
Yeah.
Like, I take it, you know about the Jimi Hendrix Experience, right?
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing. Drummer for him. There's actually this fill that I keep trying to learn. It's in Hey Joe, where he goes like, it's almost like two. It's like something like that.
Okay.
But, I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know. I was always trying to figure that out. I still know how to do it 100% right.
It's called Hey Joe.
Yeah.
Here, let me write this down.
There's a live video of it. Yeah. Interesting. Like, you can do that, huh? Like, you can do like just as easy as two right-handed five-stroke rolls. You can do two, quarter eighth note triple rolls, or whatever they're called. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. That's the melody in the song. It's like. All these drummers. Question actually that just came to me because it's pretty fun. There's something I noticed, like, and I was gonna ask you earlier.
Yeah.
Drummer Peter Erskine does it, but like when Peter Erskine's doing like triplet or double stroke triplets or whatever, like everybody always has some way of going like back from this to this, and I thought Peter Erskine was doing something like, or like, so you know what I mean, like, or that guy in the Jimi Hendrix Experience, like. I don't know. Everyone, like, I wonder, what is it? Do you know what they do like that? From that, because I go from the four toms to the snare, but there's some type of triplet or with like double stroke triplets or whatever they're called. I can't remember that.
Right.
Yeah, Peter Erskine does. Like, that's what made me notice it. Like, you have this like gnarly, like, just like crazy way of.
Is it a combination between the feet and the hands?
I'm not sure. It's on his. Remember that video I showed you, Grooving with Transcription?
Yeah.
Where it is a combination where he'll go like, like it does like. I don't know. I've always practiced that.
Yeah. Could you send in the video? Can you send me a link of that video again and send me the exact second that thing happens? Oh, I guess you could do it right now too.
Yeah, there's some like, what is it? Then that broke me into trying to understand separated doubles. But then you also showed me that,
right.
Like, I don't know, it's crazy stuff. But I love all that, and like with jazz too, that's like in and of itself, triplets and all types of stuff. There we go. I'll send it to you right now.
Cool. Here, I'll screen share right now so you could.
How much time do we have left?
We have like about 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Okay, cool.
I haven't watched this video in a minute, but it just said.
Okay.
And it's like in the very beginning, right? Like if you watch, let me see something real quick.
Okay.
It's only 2 minutes and 10 seconds, but just like the way everything that he does in this video, I would love to learn. Like,
Okay.
Like it's crazy, man. Like I can't get it. It's insane.
Let me see. So it's at 2 minutes and what seconds?
It's 2 minutes. Oh, no. The whole video is 2 minutes and 10 seconds. But starting, I'd say from like 20 seconds to probably 50 seconds. It's just like da 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 da.
Can you see what I'm looking at?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
See that right there? All that. It's just like he starts doing this thing too with Sharon Thomas at the same time.
Yeah, so that's one thing we're going to get to because right now we focus on the single strokes with the left hand. The next thing will be double strokes. You know, where it'll be. Can you see me? Oh, is it just Peter Erskine?
Peter Erskine.
Okay. Let me see.
Go to gallery view and
all.
Yeah, I mean, no worries.
No. So that'll be a thing, because he's doing that thing, right? Right? Like with his left hand, where.
Taking that and he's separating it between his two hands at the same time. Like, I mean, it's interesting. Like, or, I don't know, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I mean that's actually a technique where is because you're all of a sudden getting 3 strokes, right? But from 1 stroke. But the big thing is getting that accent on that very last stroke, right? So just look at my hands really carefully. I'll go, right? Those are the 2, and then the third one. That's when I like have to drop my wrist so the stick goes up, and then I can hit it.
I can almost like hear. I hear what you're.
Yeah, or you could do it with match grip too, where you're letting the stick hit twice, and then you're grabbing it at the very last stroke. Right? So I let it bounce twice, and then I grab it. Did we ever get into the double stroke roll?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the complexity of probably what you know about it, but I mean, that was one of the first things I remember when I first learned that. I was like, holy crap, man, I'm a good drummer now. And then I quickly realized there's a lot more to that. But a lot of drummers, I used to use it all the time. And then I saw this like meme that was like drummers who use double stroke roll all the time. I was like, holy crap, they're right. Like that's so like it's so. I mean, to learn it's important, but like I used to go, but now I play around with it, like something like that, or even separate it.
Yeah. So that's the thing about the double stroke is when you're doing it with the triplets, right? Instead of doing this, right, for the 2-stroke roll, because for the 2-stroke roll you drop it and then you grab it the second stroke, right? So the second stroke ends up almost being louder than the first stroke. Is that totally peaking the microphone?
No, I hear it.
Okay. So the thing is now what you want to do is, sorry, I'm just going to get a little towel. Is with the 3, is you're letting it bounce twice, and then you're grabbing it on the third. So I'm just doing it with chord notes on my right hand. Is that the thing you're talking about? Are you talking about this kind of fill?
Oh, that too. I mean,
okay. That's a jazz fill, especially Peter Erskine does it a lot. What it is, what it is, it's just 2 bass drums, floor tom, and then snare. I'll do it slower. Is that the fill you're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, all of it is so interesting. Thank you. The end of the fact that with the and then that's interesting.
Yeah, bass, floor tom, then snare.
His technique is a huge inspiration to me. The way he'll break in that video in and of itself, just the way he like makes it up. Then he does like
Yeah. I mean, Peter. I mean, his touch is just so good on the drums. It's very. I find it very interesting. One, you're the only drum student I've ever had who even researched who Peter Erskine is.
So cool. It's ridiculous how crazy good he is.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
that guy ruled the '90s, and like, I mean, he was. I bet in the '90s he was definitely one of like the top dogs.
Yeah, I mean the '90s. It's interesting about Peter Erskine because he got soft in the '90s. In his big the big peak of Peter Erskine was in the '70s. He was drumming for the band Weather Report. Um, yeah, and in Weather Report, the bass player they had in the band was Jaco Pastorius, who's considered like one of the best. He's like one of the bass players that pioneered playing the fretless electric bass. But it's funny because if you look at old videos of Weather Report, Peter Erskine has like long hair, his shirt is off. He's just like all sweaty, which I don't. The way I think of Peter Erskine is I think of him from that video that you showed me.
Yeah, no, me too. I can't imagine. That's funny. Yeah, he's a huge inspiration. Him and Elton Jones are definitely two people, and then Bernard Purdy too. But
yeah.
Those three are like my top three. Those are I wanna be like them. Like those guys are nuts. Like
yeah.
I love I mean that's what got me into jazz too. Is Bernard Purdy with B.B. King, and then like from there blues jazz. Then like you get into like these really gnarly groups like Miles Davis or like what's it called?
Did you ever get look up a thing called the Buddy Rich Memorial Scholarships? And back in the '90s, the Buddy Rich Orchestra, they would play with the top drummers. And there's one where it's Dave Weckl, Steve Gadd, and Vinnie Colaiuta. Vinnie Colaiuta, he played with, I think he's one of Frank Zappa's drummers. He's one of the early Frank Zappa drummers. Dave Weckl played with Chick Corea. Steve Gadd, he played on like basically a lot of 1970s records.
I think I just found it.
And they all have mullets.
That's what he's doing. He's doing that. That's interesting. He does the, or he's like doing that like, I think it's his 16th, and then he goes, like that kind of like in the mid roll. That's super cool.
Was that Steve Gadd? He's the guy who has kind of like a brown grayish fro. Let me see.
Yeah. It's like long hair almost though. It's like a fro, but Buddy Rich, yeah, you gotta try. Vinnie Colaiuta.
Yeah, Colaiuta.
Interesting.
So Dave Weckl and Vinnie Colaiuta, they were taught by the same guy. They were studying at Berklee School of Music. That's a big reason why their drum setups are very similar to each other. But yeah, those are guys that you should definitely check out.
I'm excited too. I want to really dive into that notation, even after today's lesson. I'm going to practice more with jazz. Jazz is so fun to play too. Interesting how some of the paradiddles too you can fill in. And I really want to get that down. Triplets. Triplets were always my favorite thing ever. I mean, I was before I knew how to do it. I was like, and now I can like almost slam.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just trying to get better every day.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm stoked about it. I mean, because the thing is, one of my friends' bands, they were asking me to be the drummer for it. They were called Malachi Henry and the Lights. I don't like that band name. It's very hard to remember. But But the thing is, they asked me to be in the band, and I said no, which I very much regret now. They got another so they found another drummer, and he's good. But the problem is he only knows how to play in eighth notes and 60th notes. So like, our. So basically, the thing is, because the band is very rooted in the blues, because the lead singer of the band was like really big in the blues scene. They have to play shuffles a lot, right? Like a Bernard shuffle. But what's interesting about the drummer is because he only thinks in eighth notes and sixth notes, he plays a swing like this. It's very subtle difference, right? So this is a regular triplet swing, right? But he plays the swing as a dotted quarter note, a dotted eighth note, sixth note. So basically, if I'm playing sixth notes with my left hand, like this, so. Versus triplets going. So, unfortunately, it gets under my skin, but I could only get so upset because they asked me first to play drums for them, and I said no. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like you got to learn how to swing. Basically thinking with the triplet mindset.
That's what I was always worried about if I had swing.
Oh yeah. You're definitely getting it. I mean, and the thing is, like, the more and more you do it, the more comfortable you get. All of a sudden, your feel will start, just getting better and better. But so the next thing I want to do for the next lesson, because we're actually running out of time, is doing this. Can you see my hand on the music notation here? You see me over here? Okay. Is all of a sudden, instead of single strokes, we're doing double strokes now with the left hand. So basically, like with this example, the right hand's playing a regular jazz pattern, but the left hand is doing a shuffle, right? So it'd be like this. Let me see if I can do it. You hear the difference with my hands? One's playing the jazz pattern, one's playing the shuffle. And then the next one, it'll be, you're now all of a sudden playing the triplets on the 2-3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it'd be like this. Then the next one, you won't use this as often, but it's good to know. Where it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's on the 1 and 2. So. And we'll touch on that. But like,
thank you so much.
Yeah. So what I'll do is, do you want me to send you a picture of all this music notation?
Yes, please. I'm sorry I didn't look at the other ones, but I will make sure today, including today and this rest of this week.
Yeah.
We'll learn all those. They're awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and I understand. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, honestly, it's. I found it very hard to work full time and being and just being a musician in general. Like, we even talk about this at Guitar Center. We're like, what's interesting about Guitar Center, especially when you start working there full time, is one, you're tired, right? So all of a sudden you don't have any energy to practice. Second thing is your ears are so tired from hearing, just from everyone, banging on the drums or playing metal on the guitars, and then
Yeah.
your ears are tired. And so the funny thing, a lot of my friends and I will say is like the funny thing about working at Guitar Center is it makes you into a worse musician because you don't have energy to practice. Your ears are tired already.
Yeah, I'm always fighting that. I mean, work's been kind of lame lately and stuff. And
Yeah,
I've been
what's been
over
going
it.
on with work?
Nothing, just the same. I mean, we've been having a lot of customers who've been rude, but we've all been wearing our masks most of the time. Some of my coworkers are kind of iffy about it, but it's okay. It's just super tiring, and I don't get off until 5:30. But I've still been practicing. I've been trying to. My buddy the other day told me, I was on the phone with him, and he's like, you've gotten so good in the past 3 years. He's like, don't stress out about not practicing. He's like, don't practice, relax, and then when you go back to practicing, you'll want to practice and you'll do better.
Yeah.
Because it's hard with work. Because how I like to play, I like to play every day. So if I let myself get stressed out, like not being able to play every day because I need to save my energy for the next day of work, like I don't know, it can just be overwhelming. But lately, I've been doing better, just getting solid practice in at least twice or at least 3 times a week, and just like trying to get, because this is what I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what sucks about it right now. It's like I have my buddy Jacob that I want to jam with and stuff, but even on the sense, like if we're booking shows, we're also risking our lives. If they're risking getting sick too.
Yeah, I mean, considering your girlfriend's roommate is already dealing with the coronavirus.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's actually doing a lot better. I've heard. He's recovered. My singer as well got it, and he's recovered.
Your singer got it? How old's your singer?
He's 23, but he recovered a while ago. He was an idiot. He went to bars and stuff. And I told him, I was like, hey, you can't be doing that. And he didn't listen and still went and stuff.
Oh, so what symptoms did he get?
Just like flu-like symptoms.
Okay.
He had the weirdest thing is chest pain. Like that's what I've heard from a lot of different people is some type of chest pain. And,
Actually, chest pain. That's interesting.
One of my coworkers too. I don't work with him. He lives in He works in Elsinore, and I work in Temecula. But he actually got it and was hospitalized. And to my knowledge, he could very well still be in the hospital. And it's been about a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. To be honest, I don't even want to work. Like I'd rather. My boss and I got into it, and he was like, I brought up safety stuff, and he was like, just